On. Can you hear me now? Okay. I guess I'm going to have to redo that. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. You are watching Lubed on this special aftermath edition of Lubed. This is the trade deadline breakdown of what happened and how it all took place. And I'm going to basically start from the Bo Horvat trade. I think that was basically the trigger point of when the trade deadline started. Since that point, there was 58 trades. We're not covering all 58, but we are going to cover about 15 to 17 of them. Without further ado, let's welcome back the madman himself, Mr. Sammy. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, my friend. How are you doing?
I am excellent. I am excellent. Nice to see you again. Thanks for jumping on to do this trade breakdown. I bet you have a few trades that you definitely thought were some. It's been a neat year, like a real neat year. But yes, the deadline day was probably boring as hell for all the analysts on TSN, and
It was boring to watch.
yeah. So right on. So we got a lot to dive into. Why don't we get started? As we'll talk about the very first trade that happened on January 30th. And this was the New York Islanders getting Bo Horvat from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for Anthony Bellevue, Atu Ratty, and a conditional third-round pick in 2023. What are your thoughts, Sammy?
Well, with that one being a Canucks fan, I think it was kind of inevitable for a while that Horvat was probably going to be traded, especially once we were not in the playoff hunt at all. It was, unfortunately, the writing was on the wall there, and especially after they signed JT Miller. But when I looked at it, Anthony Beauvillier, I thought, okay, he's had, not the greatest year this year. I was like, he's kind of just a player to throw in there, a guy that comes into the top six. I wasn't expecting much out of him. Atu Ratu was, I believe, the Islanders' top prospect. And so bringing him in, I was excited about that, having him come in. Another good young piece to bring into that. And then the first top 12 protected first round pick was good. It's always nice to add first round picks. So I was excited about that. Yeah, and then since then, honestly, Anthony Beauvillier has been fantastic for Vancouver since he's come in. I've really liked him on the team. He's played perfect alongside of Pedersen and Kuzmenko. Been great. Altu Ratu's only played a handful of games for the Canucks. Looked pretty good. And then, of course, they traded they traded that first round pick away. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about. Well, if we come across it, I don't know what you're referring to, but sure, you definitely fill me in when we come across that bridge.
We'll do.
Okay, so the next trade, I just had to run out and get my actual trade deadlines because some of these trades had so much involved in it. I only have 200 characters on the ticker that I have, so some of
Right.
these trades are like half a novel of the breakdown, right?
Yep.
We're now going to go to February the 9th, where the New York Rangers acquire Vladimir Tarasenko from Vladimir Tarasenko, defenseman Nico Mikkola. Now, I'm going to correct me on the butchering of these names because I am pretty bad at it. From the St.
Sounds
Louis
good.
Blues, in exchange for Sammy Baez, Hunter Skinner, conditional draft picks. This was what appeared to be okay. Kane's not going to New York.
Yeah. When I saw that, because all the speculation for the longest time had been Patrick Kane's going to the New York Rangers. That'd been the talk of the town for a while. And so when I saw that they picked up Tarasenko, I was confused. I mean, good pickup. Picking up Tarasenko for sure. Good pickup. And I thought, okay, so they just, they like Tarasenko more. Not a problem. He's going to do good. Very interesting that they went with him over Patrick Kane initially. And then, the the Blues got a good return. They got a first round pick back. They got Sammy Blais back, who was with them when they won the cup a few years ago. Yeah, so a good return on both ends. But yeah, like you said, okay, Patrick Kane, that's it. He's not going to the Rangers. Where's he going now, right?
I totally was thinking that, okay, now the Oilers are definitely maybe in the mix for him. I don't know if there ever was conversations. There was so much rumors, so much stuff going on. Like, and I don't like reporting the rumors, but unfortunately, I did one video that was Jesse was all but gone, in which it seemed like it was imminent, which it ended up being another month before he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And my channel blew up because people love rumors. They love the rumors. I don't like reporting on them because I usually find that 95% of them don't go through. But people love their
Oh yeah,
rumors, man. They love their gossip.
it's fun to speculate, right? It's fun to
You bet.
speculate.
All right, Sammy, we're going to go to the 23rd of February now. Sorry. Nope. We're going to go to the 17th of February where the Maple Leafs pick up Ryan O'Reilly, Noah Chari in a 3-team deal. This is one of those deals. If you look, the characters are so long on here.
Yep.
I can't put it in. So anyway, the Toronto Maple Leafs acquire Ryan O'Reilly, Noah Chari in a 3-team deal with the St. Louis Blues and Minnesota Wild. Blues acquire Michaela Abramov, correct me.
Abramov.
Yeah. Adam Gaudette, first round pick in 2023. NHL draft from Toronto, third round pick in the 23 NHL draft from Ottawa, second round pick in the 24 NHL draft from Toronto. And the Wild, like I say, some of these are really long. And the Wild pick up a fourth round pick in the 2025 NHL draft from Toronto. Huh. You got the stage there, Sammy.
This one I wasn't expecting this trade at all. I mean, I don't think anybody probably was really expecting this trade, but there'd been speculation Ryan O'Reilly was going to be moved, and it was pretty much guaranteed he was going to be moved. And especially after Tarasenko was moved, it was like, all right, so O'Reilly's gone. Just where's he going to? There had been rumors about Toronto. There had been rumors about, maybe Edmonton wanted him to as a depth center, or Boston or the Rangers or whoever. Like there'd been those big names that he was going to go to one of them. I was just arriving at a party with some friends when I pulled up my phone as I was walking in the door, and I looked at it and I saw the notification that O'Reilly had gone to Toronto. Holy crap! It's a fantastic pickup for the Leafs. O'Reilly, he's great to have as a center, as a second, third line center if you want to move him. For his first game, I think he was playing on center position alongside of Tavares. That line was great. I watched that game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then Nola Chari as well as another depth center. I think that's also great for them to have as the third or fourth line guy to fit in there. Toronto, this was a start for them, and it was a fantastic move for them if they're trying to compete with this, well, especially with the Bruins. If they're trying to keep up with them, they needed something. They needed that extra depth up front, and a grit. Ryan O'Reilly brings that grit, and he brings that determination. He brings Blues. So I loved it. I love that trade for Toronto.
Well, I know one thing is the guys on Oiler Nation. There was a few guys on Oilers Nation that were absolutely livid that the Oilers didn't grab him. Since he's been there, he got a hat trick. I think his second game in. He's really proven to be an effective player. I just wonder if Toronto might have gave up a little bit much for him because he is an aging O'Reilly. I don't know. That's kind of my take on it. We'll go now to February the 23rd, where the Boston Bruins acquired Dmitry Orlov, Garnet Hathaway from the Washington Capitals in a 3-team deal that included the Minnesota Wild, Boston Bruins, Oh, sorry. They included the Minnesota Wild. Boston Bruins also acquired forward prospect Andre uh, Sventikov from the Wild. Svetlikov, yeah, from the Wild. Thank you for correcting me. I butcher these names all the time on my channel. Uh, oh, yeah. And they also acquire Craig Smith, a first round pick in the 2023 NHL draft, a third round pick in the 24 draft, a second round pick in the 2025 draft. Another one that is huge in details and is basically structured like a genius when you're adding in three teams and people picking up money and that. Your thoughts on this? My personal thoughts on this: Boston is the cup winner.
Yeah. Before this, to be honest, I was picking the Hurricanes to win the cup. To be completely honest, that was my pick. There was even with the season that the Bruins were having, there was just something that, and I'm a Bruins fan as well, and there was just something that wasn't quite sitting right with me. I just didn't feel like they would, I don't know, they'd be able to pull it off for some reason. But then they made this trade, and I was like, nah, they are far. I'm changing my pick. They're far above the favorites to win the Stanley Cup now. I mean, I didn't expect Boston honestly to be doing anything at the deadline. To be completely honest, the way their team's already going, they're already setting records, projected to set more records. I just wasn't expecting them to really do anything, and it blew my mind. To trade for Dmitry Orlov, great defenseman. He's been great for the Capitals for many years. He's slots in perfectly within their top six, and then Garnett Hathaway as well. A gritty bottom six forward, good grinder. He gets in those dirty areas. He's not afraid to fight, throw the body around. That's a great physical aspect for the Bruins to bring in. I, yeah, like you said, like if they don't win the cup at this point, like it's just the season's a failure if they don't win the Stanley Cup at this point. Like just genuinely, it's just yeah. This trade blew my mind when I saw it. Blew
Yeah,
me away.
yeah, and like they're what, something like 20 points ahead of the second best team or something. I don't know the exact points right now, but
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
know
pull
they're
it up
just a
actually.
juggernaut. Just a juggernaut. And luckily, the Oilers played them last week and lost, but they lost a close one to them. I think it was 3-2 or something like that. They play, and I even praised their efforts on how they played the Boston Bruins. And I was like, for me to see them go up against the big boys, and then just the night before lose to Columbus, like I was just like, I just don't understand the Oilers sometimes. I just don't understand how they operate. Okay, Sammy, we're going to go now to February the 26th. What happened on February 26th? Can you guess? Oh, yeah, 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 you have the paper. That is correct, sir. This trade breaks down as the New Jersey Devils acquire forwards Timo Meyer, Timur Ibragimov. Yeah. Some of these names, I swear. Defenseman, and I apologize to if those guys happen to be watching this at some point in time. I do apologize. I'm butchering your name. Defenseman Scott Harrington and Santrietta Hadaka. Goalie Zachary Edmond. Fifth round pick in the 2024 NHL draft from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Fabian Zetterlund and Andreas Johnson. Defenseman Shakir Mukamadolubin. Um, yeah, and Makia Okotayuk, and a conditional first round pick in the 2023 NHL draft, and a conditional second round pick in the 24 NHL draft, and a seventh round pick in the 24 draft. My God, I'm out of breath, Sammy. Take it away.
This one, I wasn't surprised. Timo Meyer being moved, that was expected for a while. I wasn't surprised that he was acquired by the New Jersey Devils. The return for both teams is what confuses me here. Because, like, for New Jersey, I would have expected Timo Meyer and honestly probably only Timo Meyer to be the return for the Devils. Maybe you throw in a third or fourth round pick just because. But the fact that New Jersey gets Timo Meyer and then gets 5 other pieces on top of it in the trade, and San Jose gets not much more than that. Like they get 7 pieces out of that as well, but they still also get 4 players. They retain 50% of Meyer's salary, and they get 3 picks out of it.
But
It's just the return is weird for me on this. I mean, I think the trade for or New Jersey's trade here on their side of it is an absolute win for them. They get Meyer, young, fantastic forward. They get 4 other pieces, great, or 4 other players in that as well. But who knows where they can slot in the future if they slot in the future for the team, and they get a draft pick out of it too. New Jersey, I think, honestly, least San Jose in my opinion. Like that's just a ridiculous return that New Jersey somehow got
it
on
is.
top
But
of
my
it.
question for you is, I don't recognize a lot of these names. Are these NHL caliber guys? Are they guys that, or are they just going to be like nobodies?
It can be. Maybe they have the potential to be nobodies, but I think that they can be NHL players, or at least, good like AHL players that can be good call ups for a few games.
Yeah.
Get slot in there somewhere. I think they're still good players, and it's a good return for New Jersey just to have depth in their
Yeah.
roster and have depth in their system. Yeah, it confuses me on San Jose's part how they gave up that much alongside Timo Meyer. It's weird. It's weird
Yeah.
to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. I have to agree with you because he's a pretty good piece just by himself, without, without a doubt. All right, on February 28th, the long-awaited trade or movement that was 3 years in the making finally came to fruition as Jesse Puljujarvi was moved out by the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for the rights to unsigned draft choice forward Patrick Pistola. Um, I personally don't think this Pistola is going to see a light of day in the NHL. Right now, he's kind of a okay player in the Swedish Elite League or Finnish Elite League, I believe it is.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I don't see him being a big player. But this to me is not about a trade. This was a cash dump.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much else to say on this trade. It is what it is. The Oilers knew they needed to get rid of Puljujarvi. He needed to get out of town. He needed a fresh start. I think it's good that he went to the Hurricanes. I think he's definitely going to get a chance on the Hurricanes. It's a good move for him. It's a good move for the Oilers to be able to move him out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you there. We'll move on to February 28th again, but it's a different one. There was a few moves. This is when things started getting congested. So the next few ones are February 28th moves. This one involves the Toronto Maple Leafs and one of your, probably being a Vancouver Canucks fan, one of your favorite players in Luke Shin.
Hmm.
Uh, as they record, the Maple Leafs acquire Luke Shen from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for a third round pick in a 2023 NHL draft. Your thoughts?
I love Luke Shen, like you said. He was a fantastic defensive pairing for Quinn Hughes for quite a while now. He's a great physical player. He gets in dirty areas. He's not afraid to fight. He's the NHL's all-time leader in hits now, I believe. He's a fantastic defensive defenseman. He can slot in on your top pairing for a limited time if you need him. He primarily is better suited definitely for like that 5-6 role on the third pairing. But it's a great pickup for Toronto. He goes back to the team that drafted him. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one for Toronto. And the third round pick, receiving that for Vancouver, I think is more than fair.
Okay. Again on the 28th, here's the monster trade. This is the monster one that happened on this deadline. You know where I'm going with this one.
I think so.
This is, let me just see where it is here. No, actually, I'm not going with the monster one just yet. I am going with the Edmonton Oilers, going with Matthias Ekholm. So the Edmonton Oilers acquire Matthias Ekholm and a sixth round pick in the 2024 NHL draft in exchange for Tyson Barrie, forward Reed Schaefer, a first round pick in 2023, and a fourth round pick in 2024. I'm going to give you my initial thoughts on this, being an Edmonton Oiler fan.
Absolutely, take it away.
I was happy that we were able to get a defensive defenseman. Very happy about that. What I'm already witnessing just on the first two games, he doesn't just bring him as a presence. He seems to bring that calming demeanor, almost like what Duncan Keith brought to the team last year. Because the whole team just, what I've witnessed in the last two games against the Jets and the Leafs, they were defensively sound, and this has been an issue with the Oilers. So I like it. However, giving up Tyson Barrie, you wish you didn't have to, but at the end of the day, you have to give up assets for assets. The the thing I didn't like, and I really wanted to see him develop as an Oiler, was Reed Schaefer, because all indicators were headed in the direction that he was going to be kind of like a Marchand type of guy, one of those little pesky kind of players that just got in your face and just annoys opponents. So I was kind of a little disappointed we had to give him up, but again, we're in the McDavid era. Do now and forever hold your peace, essentially, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you're Ken Holland if you're not surrounding McDavid and Draisaitl with the proper pieces to try and win a Stanley Cup as soon as possible, then you're not really doing your job properly. I was, trading Tyson Barrie for Matthias Ekholm. I as well, like if I was an Oilers fan, I don't know why you'd trade Tyson Barrie. He's been fantastic with Edmonton this year. But like you said, you got to move piece for piece. You got to be able to make the room work. So and from a salary perspective, it makes sense to be able to move Barrie for Ekholm. It's just sad to see him go because I think he was fantastic for
It is,
Edmonton. He's
but
been a great
also
pickup for him.
Bouchard's ready to step up, I think, and take on that
True.
role.
And true,
So,
and true, and we hope, and you hope that Bouchard is able to take that step, and
yeah.
that he can make that next step. Like you
Well,
said, he's been great for Edmonton in his short sample size here, and he's going to be good for them moving forward. I think it is a fantastic pickup for Edmonton. They were rumored to either be in on or to be in on Ekholm, to be in on Chikrin, to be on
yeah,
Carlson,
yeah,
to be in on yeah, those three, and which one that they ended up getting. They ended up getting Ekholm.
yeah. And to, yeah, yeah. To further that, I mean, they were also supposedly to be in on Carlson, on Kane. Like I say, there was a lot of trade winds whirling. Now we're going to get into the big one, the monster of monsters, the biggest trade, I think, this deadline. As Where is it here? There it is. As the New York Rangers acquire Patrick Kane, defenseman Cooper Zek from the Chicago Blackhawks in a three-team trade that included Arizona Coyotes. The Blackhawks received defenseman Andy Welinski, a conditional second-round pick in 2023, a draft pick in 2025, a fourth-round pick, uh, and the Rangers defenseman Vil Saravi. I'm butchering it. From the Coyotes. Yeah, Billy Saliarvi. And I'm sorry, I'm just, uh, I, I just, I'm bad with the names. And Coyotes acquire a third round pick in 2025. Your thoughts, Sammy? Your thoughts? I should have got you to actually read out all these things instead of me trying to read them out. My
I
God.
can read the future ones if you want. um, I mean, the Rangers, like we talked about earlier, them when they picked up Tarasenko, it was like, all right, well, no Patrick Kane. Why do they need to pick up Patrick Kane at this point? But they still went out and did it. They still went out and did it, which surprised me. Which surprised me a bit. But especially after they picked up the Rangers picked up Tarasenko, and Patrick Kane came out and said I was disappointed at him because he wanted to go to the Rangers, and he still only wants to go to the Rangers.
Is
And
that
at that
like,
point, it was due for the Blackhawks. Like they didn't really have a choice but to
is
trade
that,
him to the Rangers.
is that like Patrick Kane being a little boy going, well, if I'm not on that team, I'm going home and taking my ball with me?
Yeah, kinda. Um, and you would think like at face value that the Blackhawks would have been able to get more back for Patrick Kane,
Yeah,
but the Rangers had the leverage in that trade. They
yeah.
had all the leverage because Kane was only willing to accept a trade to the Rangers, right? If
Hmm.
Patrick Kane was willing to go anywhere else, or if they hadn't picked up Tarasenko yet, and this was still like the bidding war to get Patrick Kane, maybe Chicago would have been able to get a couple first round picks or a high end prospect or something, but they didn't. They didn't even get a first round pick at all for Patrick Kane.
Yeah,
They didn't get a first at all, which that's
yeah,
crazy that Patrick Kane didn't warrant a first round pick.
yeah,
But it's because the Rangers had all the leverage in that trade. All the
yeah,
leverage.
yeah. That's exactly what, yeah. That's, and that's what happens when you start allowing your agents to negotiate all these no movement, no trade clauses into contracts. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I come from a hardworking family. My dad would have to work up in Fort McMurray for a couple of weeks and all that. And it was not like you didn't have that option. You just did it, and you got a way less pay than these guys get paid. So sometimes, sometimes, sometimes they're a little too spoiled, if you ask me. I mean,
Yeah.
you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and yeah, you have to uproot. But a lot of people do have to uproot. Teachers have uprooted. It's in all professions. Doctors are uprooting right now to come to BC to help out with the medical needs here in this province. I mean,
RCMP
it's a
officers do it
part
all
of
the
life.
time.
You have to uproot at times. So
Yep.
for the hockey players to always, oh, I want that on my contract, I want this in my contract. I guess they have all the power when they bring the talent, but
Yep.
it is kind of like I don't want to call Patrick Kane petty and babyish, but when I heard that he was a little upset about it, it's like, oh my god, really? Like, like too bad, so sad, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. And I love Patrick Kane. Don't get me wrong. I would have loved him as an Oiler too. Maybe I'm just bitter because he didn't become an Oiler.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That could very well be.
Yep.
Okay, so what did we lift off on that one? Where are we? So Patrick Kane, that was the big one. This is the beginning of two trades that happened with this one player, as the
Yep.
Columbus Blue Jackets acquired Jonathan Quick, and we're going to be talking about Jonathan Quick down the list a little bit later, as he was actually flipped from this trade. So the Blue Jackets acquired Jonathan Quick, a conditional first-round pick in the 2023 NHL draft, and a third-round pick in the 2024 draft from the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for Vladislav Gabriev and goaltender Jonas Korpisalo. I need to touch on this one first. I need to give you my thoughts on this because
Go
there's a
for it.
lot of things on this trade that I don't like. I don't like that the LA Kings are now muscled up that much more. Last year, the Oilers went to 7 games without a Drew Doughty in that lineup. Now they got to worry about Gabrikov, and I think Korpisalo is actually a pretty decent goalie. So I'm worried about that. What I heard and was actually quite displeased, and you could clearly see on Drew Doughty and Andre Kopitar's face when they were asked about how they felt about the trade, and they were clearly upset. The way they handled it was not cool at all for a guy that was one of your Stanley Cup goaltenders in that era, a legend, and basically just a month ago they're putting up a statue for what's his face?
Justin Brown.
Yeah, Dustin Brown, and then they don't even give him the acknowledgement. Hey, buddy, you're getting traded. So That to me was, I don't like when organizations do that. They at least owe it to you and say, hey, Jonathan, you know what? Like,
Where do
this
you
is
want
a
to go?
business. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that didn't really work out too well for him. Your thoughts on it, Sammy?
Yeah, I thought it was extremely disrespectful by the Los Angeles Kings. I mean, I get it's a business, and you got to do what you feel is right to be able to, give your team the best shot at winning. But when you trade out your franchise goaltender, best goaltender you've ever had, the guy that pretty much single-handedly won you two Stanley Cups, like the two runs that he had were two of the best goaltending performances I think we'll ever see, or that we've ever seen in a playoff run. His numbers were ridiculous in both of those. I mean, yeah, Vladislav Gavrikov, great defenseman. That's a great pickup by LA. Eunice Corpusalo, again, I mean, on a terrible Columbus team, his numbers are actually really good. Now put him in front of LA's defense and their offense, he could be pretty scary for them to be able to carry them through for the rest of the year. I mean, it's a good pickup by LA, but yeah, you just got to feel bad for Jonathan Quick.
Definitely feel bad for him. And then, as I said, we're going to touch back because he actually gets traded a couple days later. But we're going to get into the next trade that happened on March 1st. Now we're only a few days away from the deadline. You can sense things were starting to pick up after the Matthias Ekholm trade happened. And on March 1st, this trade actually surprised me as the Ottawa Senators acquired Jacob Chikrin from the Arizona Coyotes for a first round pick in the 2023 NHL draft, a second round pick in the 24 NHL draft, a second round pick in 2026. I honestly think, well, I don't know, Chikrin, I don't know, is he on a contract year or is he a rental?
Pickard has 2 or 3 years left in his
Yeah.
contract. I can't remember, but he's got a couple years left in his contract.
Because I think Ottawa made out pretty good on this one.
Yep, I would agree. I mean, I was extremely surprised that Chikrin ended up going to Ottawa, just because of the rumors of him going to, Edmonton was in the play, and for a while there, it was like a done deal between Chikrin and LA. And that was reported, and it was supposed to be like any day now, like, Chikrin to LA was supposed to be confirmed, and that was the expectation that he was going there. So seeing that he goes to Ottawa was major surprise, but that's a fantastic pickup by the Senators. It really is. That helps them defensively. It helps them offensively too, because he's an offensive defenseman. Ottawa currently, I believe, has won 4 games in a row. They're on like a 4-game winning streak. They are they're 4 points outside of the playoffs, outside of a wild card spot right now, behind the New York Islanders with 3 games in hand.
Well, and the one thing is I actually was watching a bit of the deadline yesterday because I was having issues with my knee. Didn't go to work yesterday, so I actually tuned into the boringness a little bit, and I watched Pierre Dorian's press conference, and he was asked by one of the reporters, when did he feel it was time for him to either go all in or be a seller, basically be a buyer or a seller. And he stated that the game against the Boston Bruins a few weeks back, when they actually lost to the Bruins, but he liked how they played. And he goes, you know what? Because I guess they held Boston at bay. I think it was a 3-2 final or something like that. But they played Boston very well. And that's when Pierre Dorian said that he was going to be a buyer and not a seller. So good.
I mean, the beginning of the year, I before the season started, I picked Boston actually to fall out of the playoffs. I didn't think they'd make it. I just didn't believe in the team, and I expected Ottawa to step into like that. fantastic pickup by him.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
And
Sammy,
he won the Chikrin sweepstakes.
I'm just gonna get you to move your laptop away from your TV because I don't want there's. I notice you have NHL going in the background. I don't want any monetization issues here.
Oh.
If you can just, yeah, just I just can't have you in the. It's still you're still the TV's still in your frame a little bit, bud. Yeah, that takes care of it. Sorry, man. Just I know the hockey guy actually got in poop once because he had it in the background his TV. So he was worried he was going to get a strike on him, and that's what I'm worried about. I don't want to get any strikes. Okay. Let's go on to March the 2nd. This is the Boston Bruins, again getting their hands dirty, getting Tyler Bertuzzi in exchange for a first round pick in 2024 and a fourth round pick in 2025. Your thoughts, Sammy?
Again, just fantastic pickup by Boston. It helps their top six out, as if the top six needed any help. But adding Bertuzzi in there, power forward, he plays much like his uncle Tyler Todd Bertuzzi.
Todd Bertuzzi,
This
yeah.
guy's name is Tyler. He plays a lot like his uncle Todd Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
He's got that edginess. He's got grit. He plays hard. He can score. He can punish you in any way on the ice. Like I said, as if Boston needed more of that. This, to me, solidifies them even more as the odds-on favorites and expectations to win the cup.
I, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see who comes out of that East there. Like right now, you got Tampa, which is always a threat. Okay, they didn't really do much at the deadline, but you got Tampa; they're a threat. Toronto, they've definitely bolstered up. Boston bolstered up. Who else bolstered up? I think those three were the main ones. So, and I think we're seeing
Yeah,
the end of
between
an era with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think they are. I think over the summer, I think they're going to be Malkin's going to be on the move or something,
well,
or Letang. I think that 17-year run is going to be over with here very shortly.
well, the Penguins. I mean, they just re-signed Letang, and I think just re-signed Malkin a year or two ago as well.
Yeah,
I don't see Pittsburgh ever trading any of that core three between Malkin, Crosby, and Letang. I think all of them
really.
retire as Penguins. I'd be shocked if they don't. But I do agree, Pittsburgh. I mean, honestly, if they make the playoffs this year, I'll be surprised because the Islanders are kind of right there, a point behind them. They're right in that mix there as well. Buffalo's only a couple points behind. Ottawa's a couple points behind.
I
They're
don't
all
know.
kind of right in that mix
If Gretzky
for
can
that
get traded,
playoffs.
I think anyone can get traded. I've always lived with that.
I mean, true. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we have two left, and this is the return of Jonathan Quick to the Western Conference, as he had a short stay in the Eastern Conference there. Golden Knights acquired Jonathan Quick from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for goaltender Michael Hutchinson and a seventh round pick in 2025 draft. See, now they're getting easy. I would give you the easy ones to say.
Yeah.
Take it away, Sammy. What are your thoughts on Quick getting flipped?
I mean, it's a good pickup for Vegas, and it's good for Quick. He didn't want to go to Columbus, and I mean, who wants to go to Ohio? That's the classic joke. Nobody ever wants to go to Ohio. But him going to Vegas, that's a good pickup for Vegas. I mean, he's still a fantastic goalie, and you never know. Like him, Jonathan Quick in the playoffs, even last year, like he didn't have that great of a regular season last year, but when the playoffs hit, he was lights out in the playoffs against Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Edmonton still won, but he was fantastic.
He was.
You never know. He steps in for Vegas as their starter in the playoffs, or maybe even now if they. I mean, I doubt Logan Thompson steps down as the starter, but still, you have Quick as the backup. You never. If Thompson goes down with injury or whatever, you got Quick to step in. It's good for Vegas. They pick up a veteran goaltender, that depth there. It's a good pick for them.
And I was going to use the age excuse, but we also saw what they did with an aging Fleury a couple years ago. So sometimes age doesn't matter. It just depends on the will of the player. Like James Reimer, he's still playing fairly good hockey at his age too. Like there was talks
Yeah,
about the
well,
Oilers maybe
yep,
going after him too because
yeah. He's
you
been
know.
fantastic for San Jose, which is,
Oh, for sure,
on a terrible team, he's been very good for them.
for sure. Okay, this is the last and final one, and it's not going out with a big bang like the Patrick Kane. This is just a small trade that the Edmonton Oilers made on March the 2nd as they acquired Nick Bugstad from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for Michael Kesselring and a third-round pick in 2023 NHL draft. Your thoughts, and then I'll give you my thoughts since I'm the Oiler guy.
I mean, it's a good depth piece for Edmonton. I think a good guy to step in for them on probably fourth line guy if needed. It's a good depth piece, something that Edmonton definitely needs to have that good depth in that bottom six. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, What I like is he is a defensive minded forward. So we're just buckling down on the defense a little bit more. It's going to be nice. I think he's playing tonight. I really am interested in seeing what he can and can't do. But I think he's going to bring a little bit of a defensive touch to a team that's already improved quite a bit with Ekholm. That's it, Sammy. Let's just take a look if there was any comments. I noticed one person's logged in right now, but I don't know if there's any comments. If there's any comments you guys want to leave them now because we are wrapping up pretty shortly here. I'll just stay on for a bit. Sammy, which is your favorite trade out of all of these?
uh,
Now, I'm not asking you who the
it's
winner was. Who's your favorite trade?
honestly it's probably Boston, and it's hard to go against the Orlov and Hathaway trade
Yeah,
to me. Like that's just it's a great top pairing or second pairing defenseman for Boston to step in there. And with Hathaway, it's a great bottom six guy that can step into the top six if you really need it. But just great depth there by them, or it just continues to bolster that ridiculous lineup that they already have.
yeah, I agree. And for me, obviously, I have to go with the Ekholm trade, just because I'm an Oiler guy, so I have to go with him. I did a video a couple weeks back. Basically, it started off with a couple of the Oiler insiders, and then it got on Oilers Nation, and they kind of announced a trade that would be Puljujärvi involved going for Ekholm. I saw that a few weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, that, and so I threw it on my episode like that would be a sensible deal because you know what? Eric Carlson would be nice. There's no question he'd be nice, especially the year he's having. But offense isn't our issue. Defense is.
Right.
When we're scoring 6 goals and losing those games, that's unacceptable. It's
Yeah.
unacceptable. You should not be losing games when you're scoring 5 and 6 goals. And with what McDavid is doing this year is mind blowing. He's, I think, 20, I don't even know, 20, he's over 20 points ahead of the second place Draisaitl for points in the league. Like this is
Yep.
the guy that's getting the heart. He's going to get all the hardware this year, and hopefully the big hardware. Hopefully. I'm going to just check in one more time here, Sammy. No comments, so we are going to wrap this up there, buddy. Thanks as always for joining in. This was a great episode. Uh,
Hmm.
Kind of a little bit different because we're not talking just Oilers, and that's usually when I bring you in when we just want to
Yep.
have NHL discussion. And yeah, it was an interesting deadline starting on January 30th with Bo Horvat getting dealt. That was, like I say, that was the trigger point.
For sure.
Anything you have to say in closing there, Sammy?
No, nope. I mean, there were some trades obviously we didn't talk about. We can't talk about all of them,
Yeah.
but It was a very busy deadline, especially this last week. Like leading up, the deadline was boring comparatively, but this last like Tuesday was ridiculous. Wednesday was ridiculous. Like we didn't talk about Shane Gostisbehere being dealt, John Kleinberg, Philip Roenick, Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah.
Like there's other trades that happened. We just didn't talk about because we'd be here for hours.
We could be. Well,
yeah,
like this was like we're already now bordering on 51 minutes now. So
yeah,
definitely the longest episode that I've had you for. So yeah, this is good. I guess the next time we are going to chat is probably the pre-playoffs. Probably get into the playoff matchups, and I'll try to have you on for that, and we'll discuss the brackets and who's playing who and who you think will come out of each division.
For sure. Okay,
Sammy, let's wrap it up. Okay, to all of you guys out there that are... Oh, I got one comment here, Sammy. One comment. 1 second here. He just popped up. It's from James Smith. I don't know what exactly he's writing here. Mick Planet, orange, purple, ring. I don't know. I'm not even going to post it because it just sounds like jibber jabber. Yeah, let's wrap this up, dude. You have yourself an amazing day. Good luck with your job interview.
Thank you.
And that's it. We will wrap it up. Okay, let's do this. Have a good one, Sammy.
All right, you too, bud.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the